Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Social Media at the Chapter Level webinar. My name is Janelle Origi, and I am DECA's Communications Manager. And I'm excited to share some tips and tricks and resources to really help you get your chapter's social media presence up and running for this year. So today we're really going to focus on three main steps that you can implement into your chapter's social media strategy. I really wanted to make these easy and feasible ideas that you can implement right away, whether you haven't started any social media or maybe you've gotten some really strong platforms already in place, and these are ways that you can really then enhance what you're already doing. So the three steps we're going to look at today are, number one, share news, number two, create community, and number three, encourage engagement. So to kick it off, let's talk about sharing news. I would say that if you are just starting out, you don't have any platforms yet, you're not really sure what to be posting, you really just want to focus on mastering this first one. You want people to know that they can go to your Twitter page or your Facebook page to find the information that they need to know. When are meetings? When are conferences? What is that even about? Where can they sign up or learn more? This gives people a really concrete reason to follow your page, and you're also providing a really great service to your members. I'm sure you know with high school students, they don't really read email, and it's hard to make sure that they listen to what you announce in the meeting or in class. So kind of making sure that they know if they're not sure about a date or not sure about, when money is due for a certain event or field trip, that they can go to your Twitter page and scroll through your feed and find that announcement that you posted. That's really going to bring people to your page. They're going to be following you because they know they can count on that information, and you'll be able to kind of slowly start building your presence and your followers from there. Here's some great examples I found on Instagram. So DECA, they posted a picture that actually DECA Inc. shared on our Instagram story. But again, this is a great way to relay information to their members who maybe don't follow DECA, reminding them about the stock game deadline and when to get signed up and how to get more information. There's another great one from Carter DECA about joining DECA and, coming to their recruitment day event. And so again, these are great ways to not only be giving information to current members, but also potential members as well, and giving them a place to go find those dates and times. Just a few more great examples. I love this one of the cookie. I think DECA members in general really like anything to do with food, so anytime you can post something about that, that'll work out well. But again, this is just a fun way to remind people about a DECA meeting happening. And then I really like this other one from Mission San Jose DECA, because it's actually coming from one of their officers, which I think is a huge component of your social media strategy. You really need to make sure that your officers are contributing to your social media. So like posting things on your behalf or retweeting what you tweet and really kind of helping build your presence, because I'm sure that they have tons of kids following them and all of their friends who maybe are in DECA, maybe aren't in DECA, and so by them retweeting you or posting something and tagging your account in it, they're helping you grow that following. Here's some examples on Twitter. I really like Wasai DECA. They just shared our scholarship announcement, so that's another really great way to share news. Just take what DECA's already posted or shared and retweet it. Here's another example too about Adams DECA and their recruitment meeting, and again, they had an officer share that sort of on behalf of the chapter. So make sure that you're really getting your social media strategy implemented through your officers. So there's really two ways to share this news. So the first one I sort of mentioned, resharing information that DECA Inc. has already posted. So make sure you're retweeting our announcements, you're reposting our Instagram photos, and you're following all of our channels so you're never missing the news that we're already sharing. The second way is to create and share your own information and news. And really the best way to do this is through the DECA Direct online social media correspondent program, or if you have your own blog and website, sort of posting, activities that your chapter is doing or achievements or awards, or maybe you went on a field trip or a conference, and sort of generating your own news that way and then sharing it through your social media channels. A great way to really help you be successful if you are creating your own news is planning out your year in advance with a content calendar. And DECA has a really great PDF you can download at deca.org/communications. But this is an excellent way to really get your officers involved in looking at what's going on in your calendar year, what events do you have, or what activities do you know are coming up, and then making sure that they're being covered somehow, whether through a DECA Direct Online article, through a blog post on your own website, through scheduling tweets to go out. So this way you can really ensure that you're not missing an opportunity to share an announcement or share a recap of something that you all already did. Also know what chapters require promotion or awareness, so you don't want to be, announcing a fundraiser you're doing 2 days before it starts. You really want to make sure you give the students in your school as well as in your chapter time to know about the event, plan for it, get excited for it. So make sure you're sort of backdating your post so that you're giving people enough time to participate in your activities or to really, become engaged in what you're doing. Scheduling posts is always a great way to simplify any social media for a chapter. I know that a lot of chapters use Hootsuite, but there's a few other free ways that you can schedule Twitter posts or Facebook posts. But certainly when you're meeting with your chapter officers and you're putting together your content calendar, that's a great way to go ahead and start scheduling tweets or announcements or posts that you know will be coming up. And lastly, just watch for opportunities. As great as scheduling all your posts are, you don't want your Twitter page or your Facebook page to be so scheduled that you can kind of tell everything was made months ago. You want to be able to leave room for if there's a funny meme trending or a hashtag going on, or one of the pizza days, national coffee days, something like that, that you can incorporate that into your social media plan right away. So make sure that maybe if there's an officer who's really into social media, that they're able to communicate with you and the rest of the team so that you can capitalize on those sort of trending opportunities to get more likes and retweets and followers. Another great resource DECA has in place is our DECA Social Media Guide. You can find this at deca.org/communications, and you can download the PDF. But this is a really great resource for new chapter officers, or if you're not quite sure where to start out on a social media strategy, this will give you as well as your officers some tips and ideas. There's a great plan in place for how to create your social media presence, as well as a social media audit worksheet and a content calendar activity. So you can really kind of go step by step through this book, have your officers work together to perform your social media audit and fill out your calendar, and it gives you a really great kind of base point to jump off on for your social media strategy. Another great way to share news and make sure you know what news to share is by staying up to date with DECA. And so a great way to do this is to subscribe to our weekly Tuesday emails, DECA Direct Weekly. All advisors should be receiving them. If not, you can certainly contact communications@deca.org and just send us an email and let us know you're not receiving them, and we'll get you signed up. But I really encourage chapter as well as association officers too to be signing up to receive these. So if you want your chapter members or your officers to be getting them, just send their emails to communications@deca.org as well, and we'll get you all signed up. Each Tuesday, you'll get an email first thing in the morning. It kind of contains all the top news stories happening that week in DECA, and then you can kind of take the best stories or the ones that most apply to your chapter and use them to share throughout the week or throughout the day on your platform. So it's sort of an easy way to sort out what's going on that week in the DECA world. All right, so step number 2 is to create community. So I would say if you've, mastered step 1, you're sharing news and people know to follow your page to get these updates and announcements, then sort of the next step to build on is to create a community. So I like to think that sharing news is why people will find your pages, but creating a community is what will make them follow you and stay and want to be a part of your Twitter page or your Instagram page. It's a really great way to get members to participate on your terms when it comes to social media, and you also are creating a space that everyone at your school wants to be a part of. So if you have this really cool Instagram page you share behind the scenes looks at your chapter's traveling or funny memes or just kind of interesting things going on at your school, you're going to find that not only your DECA members are going to want to follow you, but kids from other organizations and other clubs, they're going to want to be a part of that community too. So here are some examples I found of some great ways to create this sense of community. Appleton East DECA, they have a really strong social media presence, so certainly follow them if you're looking for ideas. But they do a great job of really showcasing their members. So here they just posted 2 of their members at a Packers game showing the DECA Diamond. But it's a nice way to sort of see what members are doing outside of school and, again, create that community, because you're going to get other members sending in their photos of what they're doing over the weekend and things like that. WCTA DECA posted this Wisdom Wednesday picture featuring their members, which is really great, but certainly creating these sort of themed hashtags throughout the week is a great way to sort of create that community. So whether you do Motivational Monday or you shout out to a different member once a week, things like that will really get people excited about being part of your social media community. And I really love this other one too from Mission San Jose DECA. They sort of showcased that they had the largest attendance in California DECA at ICDC this past year. And so again, all those members from that chapter are going to be so proud of this accomplishment. They're going to want to share this with their friends and like it and sort of show that chapter spirit. So kind of finding ways to give your chapter a shout out, give them recognition, really broadcast their achievements is a nice way to create community as well. Hashtags are really my favorite way to harness this community feeling, and it gives members a great way to engage with your chapter without compromising their content. What I mean by this is you're not necessarily going to find a lot of your members retweeting you or reposting your photos because they want to showcase their own photos on their social media platforms and their own tweets. But by giving them a hashtag to use that's tied back to your chapter, they can still share their own photos, share their own messages, but they'll be incorporating your chapter as well through a hashtag. So I know Appleton East DECA uses hashtag AEastDECA, or another way is just using the kind of initials of your school, so BRHS DECA. That's an easy one as well. I know some chapters have gotten a little bit more creative with it, but to kind of come up with your hashtag, you certainly don't need to do anything more than just your chapter name and DECA. Here are some good examples of some chapter hashtag feeds on Instagram. As you can see, there's just a lot of variety. You're really able to capture all your members, showcase all their different experiences, and put them together in one sort of collected feed that all leads back to your chapter. Here's another example through Twitter of hashtag BRHSDECA. Obviously, some of these tweets are from a couple years ago, but it's still a nice way to see that you're getting a lot of different people contributing to the feed. A lot of different occasions are being shown, so whether it's going on a bus for a trip or going to be on the Today Show, different things like that. You're really able to get a broader view of what's happening in your chapter when you create this hashtag and you allow members to put that on their own stories, their own tweets, their own experiences. Hashtags are also the easiest way to help you find user-generated content for you to share on your own pages. So obviously, it'll be much harder for you to try to follow all your members, go through their feeds, sort through what's about DECA, what's not. If all of your members are using your chapter hashtag on their photos, then you can just search through that hashtag to find a great photo from a trip or from a conference or from a community service activity that then you can reshare on your pages. You can give that member a shout out and sort of recognize them for engaging in your hashtag campaign. And this will really encourage other kids to post as well, because they'll want to see their photos featured on your pages or on your Twitter post. So it sort of creates a snowball effect. Another great way to use hashtags, I sort of mentioned earlier, is creating sort of this Twitter Days idea. When DECA was really first building our Twitter presence, this is something we did to really just help us have some content to post every single day, even if nothing was really going on. So you can certainly create Twitter Days that are unique to your association or your chapter, whether you have your own chapter theme or association theme for the year, different conferences you have going on in your district or state, different things happening in your own school. This is also a nice way to get chapter officers involved in kind of being creative, finding ways to get their chapter members engaged or even other kids in the school. And then I certainly encourage you to always tag DECA Inc. in these posts as well, because we would love to see what you're doing, and we'll certainly give you a retweet if we can, if it's a theme that kind of applies to everyone as well. All right, so lastly, the last step in sort of creating this social media strategy is encourage engagement. I would say this is the toughest of all three, and you kind of sort of have to already have this broad community going and a lot of members really engaging in your posts to kind of get this step going. There is some crossover with number 2 because it's kind of creating that sense of community as well. But I almost view these posts as more entertaining posts instead of the DECA-related announcements. These maybe aren't explicitly related to DECA, but they're going to be those kind of funnier or more interesting posts that your followers will actually like and reshare, as opposed to just something about a deadline or a conference news announcement. So here's some examples from DECA. We like to kind of take different things happening in the world, whether it's pop culture or trending memes, things like that, and then apply them back to DECA. So National Waffle Day is one example, the Super Bowl, and applying that back to, you know, how you feel after your role play, or putting a DECA diamond on a pizza for National Pizza Day. Again, these aren't, you know, necessarily announcements about DECA or important updates, but they create that sense of community with DECA members who have, you know, felt amazing after their role play or want a pizza with the DECA diamond on it. And these posts, we see the most likes and the most shares in terms of our content. So again, these are sort of those more funny, entertaining ones, but they're going to get you much more engagement than your other posts, which will in turn get you more followers, more people seeing all your posts overall. Here are some great GIF examples from some other chapters. GIFs are very popular now. They're very easy to add into your tweets or your Instagram posts, and they're just kind of a fun way to really make an otherwise kind of boring announcement a little bit more exciting. So like that far one, Denver's DECA about officer interviews beginning today. That's obviously not a very exciting tweet, but by adding in that great GIF from the Elf movie, it's a little bit more fun. Other things about DECA month being started and being very excited for it, as well as DECA starting again, and you know how much you can't wait to see your DECA friends. Those are just very fun and lively posts that you're going to see more kids liking and retweeting than your normal announcement posts. So some successful methods we have found, I've sort of mentioned, but using GIFs or memes to share relatable DECA sentiments. So, you know, really owning your role play, or the feeling about getting on stage to get a DECA trophy, how you feel about seeing your DECA members again. Things like that are always going to resonate with all your members, so those are great things to share. And you can also create your own sort of based on what's trending. So I like to see if there's a really popular meme or a very funny video going around, I like to see how can I, you know, bring that back to DECA. So again, like Lady Gaga at the Super Bowl and applying that back to DECA. I think there's a lot of ways that we can take what's happening in the world and then kind of put a little DECA spin on it. This is also a great activity and challenge for your officers as well, you know, so you can come up with the best DECA meme for what's happening that week or things like that. And again, you're going to see a lot more likes and retweets from kids on these posts. And those likes and favorites and retweets are going to really help you grow your impressions, your engagements, and your following. So they'll not only appeal to the super dedicated members, but they're going to appeal to those less involved ones as well. So this is a great way to get content that's going to really apply to all your members, not just the officers or the ones who show up to every event, but the ones who are maybe not super active in your chapter, but still kind of can find some humor and appeal in these DECA posts. And I'd say overall, you want to find a nice mix between informational and entertaining content. So don't fill your whole feed with DECA memes and DECA GIFs, but you also don't want a feed that's completely just announcement related and deadline related. You want to kind of find a nice mix so kids are getting the information they need while also finding those funny, entertaining posts that they're going to share. All right, so lastly, we're going to take a look at some Snapchat geofilters. If your school or your chapter really hasn't dove into Snapchat yet, I really encourage you to. As you can see, I mean, the demographic that's using Snapchat is all your DECA members. And so this is the place where DECA members are going. This is where they're sharing already what's happening in your chapter. So you don't want to miss out on being able to share your own content there as well. Geofilters are great for any event, big or small, and this is a great way to reach members and non-members, because when you allow a geofilter to run, you're going to find that not only your chapter members will use it, but kids who aren't in your chapter but just in that area, And then when they share this story using your Geofilter, all of their followers, which are members as well as non-members, are going to be seeing your branded content. So you really cannot afford to miss out on this. And the best part is that these Geofilters are super affordable. They're a cost-effective addition to any marketing plan for any event. So you're not shelling out hundreds of dollars for it, but it's more like $5 or $10 to really get a lot of return. So DECA is very excited to now have a Snapchat Geofilter library where you can download not custom made, but really well-branded DECA Geofilters that your chapter can then customize and really brand to whatever's happening in your chapter. So you can find this Geofilter library at deca.org/communications, and if you just scroll to the very bottom of the page, you'll see our whole collection of Geofilters. We have a few made for DECA month as well as back to school. And then we even have brought in some kind of just generic ones with different designs. So there's a mix between holidays as well as kind of everyday use filters. When you're looking at the library, you'll sort of see an example of the Geofilter, and you can click on that to get a larger view. And then below each row is where you can download a PNG file to use on Snapchat.com when you're uploading them. So I certainly encourage you to go browse through all of those, take a look, download your favorite ones. If you have never used Snapchat before or are unfamiliar with the process, we can go through real quickly on how to use it. You just have to go to snapchat.com and you'll see the Geofilters option at the top menu. To upload a Geofilter, you do need to have a Geofilter, or I'm sorry, to upload a Geofilter, you do need to have a Snapchat account. So whether you just want to use your personal one or one for the school, it doesn't matter. It won't necessarily be directed back to that account, but you just have to have an account to sign in and get started. So once you are all signed in, you're going to click on the personal Geofilter option, and then you're sort of given the sort of design screen to start the process. So if you've already downloaded one of our pre-made Geofilters, you just go to the Upload Your Own option and then pull up the Geofilter that you downloaded. And the great part about this is that once you've sort of uploaded the one you downloaded from DECA, you're still able to customize it with your chapter logo, or with the event logo, or what's happening, why you need the Geofilter. So you just go to that tab on the right-hand side, the Color Text Elements tab, and there you can select the Elements button and you can upload a PNG logo file. So there you could bring in either your chapter logo or maybe your school logo, anything like that. So then you have a really well-branded Snapchat Geofilter. The next part of it is the scheduling page, and so you're going to want to pick the date and time that your Geofilter runs. They only start and end on the hour, so I like to kind of buffer the event. So I have an hour or so before it starts. That way, if anything's going on with the Geofilter, I can contact Snapchat and get it figured out, and so that you're not finding out it's not working right when the event starts. The next part of the process is kind of drawing your Geofilter fence. So you just type in the location or address or name of the area that you want the fence around, and then it uses Google Maps to pull up that space. And from there, you can sort of draw your fence around the area. It's very helpful because you can do this ahead of time to really get an idea of what the cost will be for your event so that you can sort of fit it into your budget and you'll be able to know ahead of time, okay, we need $20, we need $10 or whatever. And then from the screen as well, you can adjust the size and price so that you're able to really make sure that it's meeting the budget that you need. I believe for like 8 hours and the minimum 20,000 square feet fence, it starts at $5. So like I said, very affordable and great for really any event going on with your DECA chapter. Lastly is just the payment option for your GeoFence. You do need to use a credit card to get your Geofilter all submitted, but make sure that you name your filter something very easy to identify so when you go back and look at your analytics, you know exactly what event it was for. I think that's very important. Don't just name them all Geofilter 1, Geofilter 2. Make sure that they're really easy to recognize. So just some tips when using Geofilters. You cannot necessarily have a hashtag in a Geofilter that uses, you know, the hashtag #, but I like to just include sort of the hashtag without the # symbol in it so that people still kind of recognize what the hashtag is, but it's a little, you know, subtle. So like here we have the DECA ICDC hashtag just without the hashtag symbol. So that's a great way to kind of make sure it's branded to your event, but still within Snapchat's rules. I would certainly give yourself 4 or 5 days ahead of time to submit your Geofilter, make sure it gets approved. If it doesn't get approved, you still have time to tweak it and submit a new one. And then if you do need to cancel your Geofilter once you've submitted, do it right away just to make things easier for you. If your Geofilter goes through, it's submitted, and you're charged, and you end up needing to cancel it before the event, you will get refunded. But if you cancel your Geofilter after it's started, you will not get refunded. So make sure that if anything changes, you just cancel it right away, and you can kind of start over. And then be sure to check your analytics afterwards. There's some really great insight. You can see how many people used it, how many people viewed it, and you'll really be surprised by the reach that, one 8-hour Geofilter will get. So certainly don't forget that step. DECA is very excited about these Geofilters that we made for you all, and we certainly want you to utilize them as best you can. So if you do need a PNG file of your logo to use on these, don't hesitate to email communications@deca.org, and we will get you one sent right away. Just let us know in the email that you're looking for a PNG version, because we typically just send out JPEGs, but we're happy to make the PNG one for you. We also are totally open to other ideas when it comes to the Geofilters we're making for this library. This isn't necessarily a custom service, so if your school is having a particular event, we can't just make you one just for your school or just for that event. But if you think it'd be really great to have a winter Geofilter or a summertime Geofilter, things that are more broad and all chapters can use, certainly send your ideas to communications@deca.org, and we would love to see them and possibly make them happen. All right, so just a quick recap on what we sort of covered today. So first, when it comes to the steps to use to really get your chapter social media off the ground running, you want to first share news, either DECA Inc. news or creating your own. You want to create a sense of community, and a great way to do that is utilizing chapter hashtags and encouraging all your members to really get on board with using them in their own posts. And then lastly, encourage engagement, and the best way to do that is by really creating a great mix of informational and entertaining posts that are DECA memes or DECA GIFs, and then also using the Geofilter library to make great Snapchat Geofilters that all your members and non-members can use to really get the word out about your chapter in your school and community. If anyone has any questions about DECA social media, the Snapchat Geofilters, really anything social media or communications related, I am so happy to answer any questions. So you can reach out to me either on email at janelle_arrighi@deca.org, or you can reach me at Twitter at JJArighiDeca, as well as the DECA Inc. account that I run. So I'll be able to see any messages on there as well. Other than that, it has been a pleasure talking to you all today, and I look forward to seeing all your amazing Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat posts this year. Thank you so much.